G'day guys, this is your Admiral speaking and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to showcase something a little bit different. This is the Tier 8 Italian battleship Roma. Slightly different format to today's video. First I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of the ship, then we're going to roll into a replay, and then I'm going to show you my recommended build at the end. Now I've been absolutely in love with this ship since it was introduced into the game. She handles extremely well and her lines are just absolutely gorgeous. There is not much to not like about this ship. But anyway, we'll start off with a quick history about the ship, so put your feet up, grab a cup of coffee, and I hope you enjoy.
Roma was named after the city of Rome and was the fourth Vittorio Veneto, or Littorio, class battleship of Italy's Regia Marina. The construction of both Roma and her sister ship Impero was due to the rising tensions around the world and the Navy's fear that only two Vittorio Venetos, even in company with older pre-First World War battleships, would not be enough to counter the British and French Mediterranean fleets. The Italian leader, Benito Mussolini, did not authorize any large-scale naval rearmament until 1933. Once he did, two old battleships of the Conte de Cavour class were sent to be modernized in that same year, and the Vittorio Veneto and Littorio were laid down in 1934. In May 1935, the Italian Naval Ministry began preparing for a 5-year naval building program that would include 4 battleships, 3 aircraft carriers, 4 cruisers, 54 submarines, and 40 smaller ships. In December 1935, Admiral Domenico Cavagnari proposed to Mussolini that, among other things, 2 more battleships of the Littorio class be built to attempt to counter a possible Franco-British alliance. If the two countries combined forces, they would easily outnumber the Italian fleet. Mussolini postponed his decision, but later authorized planning for the 2 ships in January 1937. In December, they were approved and money was appropriated for both the Roma and the Impero. Dimensions and specifications for battleship Roma. Overall displacement, 45,485 tons. Length, 240.7 meters. Beam, 32.8 meters. Draft, 9.6 meters. Main armament, 9 model 1934 guns in 3 triple turrets, caliber 380mm or 15 inches. Secondary armament, 12 model 1934 35 guns in 4 triple turrets, caliber 152mm. Anti-aircraft armament comprised of 12 single-mount dual-purpose model 1938 guns, caliber 120mm, 20 37mm guns in 8 twin and 4 single mounts, and finally 16 20mm guns in 8 twin mounts. Armor, main belt, 280mm with a second layer of steel that was 70mm thick. Main deck, 162mm in the center of the ship and 45mm on the forecastle and the quarterdeck. Main turrets and the barbettes, 350mm. Conning tower, 260mm. Aviation, a combination of total of 3 IMAM RO-43 reconnaissance aircraft and Reggiani RE-2000 fighter aircraft. Propulsion, 4 Beluzzo steam turbines powered by 8 Yarrow boilers operating at 128,000 shaft horsepower, maximum speed, 30 knots. Operational range, 4,581 nautical miles at 16 knots. Roma's keel was laid by the Italian shipbuilder Cantieri Riuniti dell'Adriatico on the 18th September 1938, and she was launched on the 9th of June 1940. After just over 2 years of fitting out, the new battleship was commissioned into the Regia Marina on the 14th of June 1942. She arrived in the major naval base of Taranto on 21st of August and was assigned to the 9th Naval Division. Although Roma took part in training exercises and was moved to various bases including Taranto, Naples, and La Spezia in the next year, she did not go on any combat missions as the Italian Navy was desperately short of fuel. In fact, by the end of 1942, the only combat-ready battleships in the Navy were the 3 Vittorio Venetos, because the fuel shortage had caused the modernized battleships to be removed from service. When combined with a lack of capable vessels to escort the capital ships, the combat potential of the Italian Navy was virtually non-existent. Roma and her two sisters were moved from Taranto to Naples on 12 November in response to the Allied invasion of North Africa. While en route, the three battleships were attacked by the British submarine HMS Umbra, though no hits were scored on the ships. On 4 December, the United States launched a major air raid on Naples in an attempt to destroy the Italian fleet. One cruiser was destroyed, and two others were damaged in the attack, as were 4 destroyers. 2 days later, Roma was transferred with Vittorio Veneto and Littorio to La Spezia, where she became the flagship of the Regia Marina. They remained here throughout the first half of 1943 without going on any combat operations. During this time, La Spezia was attacked many times by Allied bomber groups. Attacks on the 14th and 19th of April 1943 did not hit Roma, but an American raid on the 5th of June severely damaged both Vittorio Veneto and Roma. B-17 aircraft carrying 2,000-pound armor-piercing bombs damaged the stationary battleships with 2 bombs each. Roma suffered from 2 near hits on either side of her bow. The starboard side bomb hit the ship, but passed through the side of the hull before exploding. The ship began taking on water through in that area, covering about 32 square feet. The second bomb missed but exploded in the water near the hull. Leaks were discovered over a further 30 square feet. Approximately 2,400 tons of water entered the ship. Roma was damaged again by 2 bombs in another raid on the 23rd and 24th of June. One hit the ship aft and to starboard of the rear main battery turret, and obliterated several staterooms, which were promptly flooded from broken piping. The second landed atop the rear turret itself, but little damage was suffered due to the heavy armour in that location. This attack did not seriously damage Roma or cause flooding, but nevertheless she sailed to Genoa for repairs. Roma reached the city on 1st of July and returned to La Spezia on 13th of August, once repairs were complete. Along with many of the principal units of the Italian fleet, including the Vittorio Veneto, the ex-Littorio, now renamed Italia, the cruisers Eugenio di Savora, Raimondo Monteciccioli, and the Emanuele Filiberto Duca d'Aosta, and 8 destroyers, Roma sailed from La Spezia with the Don del Sima as captain and also as the flagship of Admiral Carlo Bergamini on 9th of September 1943, one day after the proclamation of the 1943 Italian armistice. The group was later joined by 3 additional cruisers from Genoa, the Duca degli Abruzzi, the Giuseppe Garibaldi, and the Attilio Rogolo. On that same day, the fleet had been scheduled to sail towards Salerno in order to attack the Allied ships sailing to invade Italy as part of Operation Avalanche. The proclamation of the armistice on 8th of September, however, had led to the cancellation of this operation, as German forces in Italy launched Operation Aceh. Admiral Bergamini was ordered to leave La Spezia in order to prevent the fleet from falling into German hands and reach Allied-controlled ports. Due to Bergamini's reluctance to bring his ships to Malta, not knowing the details of the armistice and what would be the fate of the fleet once in Allied-controlled ports, and to initiate plans for the transfer of Victor Emmanuel III, his court, and the government from Rome, the initial destination was La Maddalena, a naval base in Sardinia. Once at La Maddalena, Bergamini would receive further orders to proceed to Malta from Admiral Bruno Brunelleschi, naval commander of Sardinia, as well as some documents regarding the conditions of the armistice for the navy. The transfer of the king to La Maddalena was cancelled. However, he instead fled to Pescara, and when the fleet arrived off La Maddalena, German troops had occupied the base in order to transfer their troops from Sardinia to Corsica. Therefore, the stop at La Maddalena was also cancelled, and the Supermariner ordered Bergamini to head for Allied-controlled Beaune. The fleet then changed course, but when Germany learned that the Italian fleet was sailing towards an Allied base, the Luftwaffe sent Dornier Do 217s armed with Fritz X radio-controlled bombs to attack the ships. These aircraft caught up with the force when it was in the Strait of Bonifacio. The DO 217s trailed the fleet for some time, but the Italian fleet did not open fire upon sighting them. They were trailing the fleet at such a distance that it was impossible to identify them as Allied or Axis, and Bergamini believed that they were the air cover promised to them by the Allies. However, an attack upon the Italia and Roma at 1537 spurred the fleet into action, as the anti-aircraft batteries on board opened fire and all ships began evasive maneuvers. About 15 minutes after this, Italia was hit on the starboard side underneath her forward main turrets, whilst Roma was hit in a similar location. This bomb passed through the ship and exploded beneath the keel, damaging the hull girder and allowing water to flood the aft engine room and 2 boiler rooms. The flooding caused the inboard propellers to stop for want of power and started a large amount of arcing, which itself caused many electrical fires in the after half of the ship. Losing power and speed, Roma began to fall out of the battle group. Around 1602, another Fritz X slammed into the starboard side of Roma's deck. It most likely detonated in the forward engine room, sparking flames and causing heavy flooding in the magazines of the main battery turret number 2 and the 4-port side secondary battery turret, as well as putting even more stress on the previously stressed hull girder. Seconds after the initial blast, the number 2 15-inch turret was blown over the side by a massive explosion, this time from the detonation of that turret's magazines. This caused additional catastrophic flooding in the bow, and the battleship began to go down by the bow while listing more and more to starboard. The ship quickly capsized and broke in two. According to the official inquest conducted after the sinking, the ship had a crew of 1,850 when she sailed. Approximately 600 survived, with 1,250 men going down with the Roma. The sunken vessel was found in June 2012 by the underwater robot Pluto Pala, designed by Italian engineer Guido Cesare. It was discovered about 90 nautical miles off the northern coast of Sardinia at a depth of around 1,000 meters. On the 10th of September 2012, a memorial ceremony was held on an Italian frigate over the spot where the Roma went down. The Italian defense minister, himself a former naval officer, at the ceremony described the dead sailors as unwitting heroes who found their place in history because they carried out their duty right until the end.
We've learned about the ship. Let's see how she performs in World of Warships.
Affirmative. Good luck and fancy. Forze nemiche in vista.
So here we are on the neighbours map in the Roma, and I am using my Giulio Cesare commander in this. The commander is very easily interchangeable between that ship and the Roma. They have very similar play styles. You can play them in a very similar manner. They're both up-tiered quite easily. We are top tier in this game, but they can handle being up-tiered simply due to the turret rotation and also the penetration of the shells as well. So as you can see, we're heading north towards Charlie. We spotted Cleveland. We'll take a shot. And 6 overpens for 15,000 damage. That's huge. You will overpen a lot of lower tier cruisers in this ship. The armor-piercing shells on this have very high penetration value, and it can be quite hard to get a Citadel on lower tier cruisers, especially at close range. You will just continuously overpen. And final shot, and there's a Citadel. Yeah, RNG, gotta love it. So, yeah, next, looking for our next target. And spot an enemy Nagato. And we take a shot. And 1 overpen. For a further 5,000 damage. Yeah, these guns, a lot of the community contributors talk about the dispersion and how they can be trollish. To be honest, I haven't found them any more or less trollish than any other tier 8 ship. I tend to play a lot of the Bismarck and the Tirpitz, also at tier 8, excuse me. But the advantage with the Roma is you have 9 guns instead of 8. So if you're used to playing the Bismarck and the Tirpitz and you're used to dealing with the dispersion, then you're not going to have too many issues with this ship. So we continue our push towards Charlie. We've already taken Bravo. There's currently a destroyer in Charlie capping. And typical Asia server, ships are just camping at the moment, not willing to push. So I'm just gonna take shots at whatever I can shoot at the moment. So, what have we got here? There's the Nagato again. Let's see if we can get another shot on him. Just waiting for my guns to reload. I don't think I'm going to get a shot over the island. And he is turning away. I'm also turning away just to angle the ship so I don't get overmatched on a broadside. Because the last thing you want is to take big citadel damage from enemy battleships as well. Doesn't matter what tier they are. You can still take massive damage from a tier 6 battleship in this ship. So I just want to minimize that as much as I possibly can. Just a double tap of the map. Trying to get a better angle, but he vanished before I could get a shot away. So it looks like they're all starting to scatter to the northwest of Charlie. So I'm going to turn and start to try and push a bit. Take another shot at the Nagato. And the Bismarck gets the final shot. So 4 hits for relatively decent damage, but yeah, it was just the Bismarck that got that final shot. Set my secondaries to the Visca. Always make a habit of setting your secondaries to a target. It doesn't matter if the ship is spec'd for secondaries or not. It's generally always a really good habit to get into. So, he's going into concealment, take a shot, and you can see that the dispersion, if you've got nothing targeted, is just absolutely horrendous. So very hard to hit something in smoke unless you have targeting. So Bismarck, the friendly Bismarck is starting to push forward. We'll try and stop the cap at Charlie. The enemy has taken A. And we spot Nakatsuki. He looks like he's gone nose into the island at the moment. Not sure what he's doing, whether or not he's A or what. But I'll just let the Bismarck deal with him for the moment. He should have a secondary spec and be dealing with that. Take a shot at the Arjari. 3 overpens. As I said, lower tier cruisers, you're going to consistently overpen. Very hard to get damage against torpedoes from the Visca. Slow down. Now I'm just going to take these cautiously. The last thing I want is a full broadside of torpedoes from the Akatsuki. The turret was never going to hit them. Forward turret. Let's go in. Deal damage. And we're just continuing the onslaught of that destroyer. Secondary targets, and the friendly destroyer Gallant gets that kill. Visca sets me on fire in 2 locations. I'm not going to put it out just yet. Just going to wait and see how much damage I'm going to take before I put it out. Normally I wait until I start to see the grey section of the damage meter start to reduce, and then I'll put the fires out. It just minimizes the amount of time or minimizes the opportunity for the enemy ships to set me on fire a 3rd time. Had a 3rd fire been started, I would have put it out straight away, but a lot of the time through good management you can handle 2 fires on one ship. It's just knowing what your damage control is, who's shooting at you, and what you can do from there. The Otago is almost broadside, he's starting to turn away, take a shot, and miss everything again. It's just the dispersion of these ships. Would have probably done the same with a Bismarck or Tirpitz, but that Otago is now run aground. And reload, launch the mine, and he goes back into concealment. So I'll just take a shot at where I think he might be. And 2 pens. Alright, so I'm not going to go chasing after the Otago or that DD to the north. I'm now going to push back down towards Bravo as the enemy team has now captured it. So I'm just going to use the islands here as much to my advantage as possible, and that's always the thing you need to do. In a ship like this, I mean, sure, you're going to be a focal point, you're going to be set on fire, but you can see there the number of battleships on the enemy team. So basically I want to take what shots I can, but I also want to remain as concealed as I possibly can, so to avoid taking copious amounts of damage from large caliber guns. So Targo is turning away, I elevate the gun, 3 overpens. Now I'm going to turn back in here because he does have torpedoes, so I'm expecting torpedoes to be sent. So the best way for me to avoid those is by turning back in towards the island and heading south east along that island there. I take fire from the destroyer, he sets me on fire yet again. I'm just going to let it burn for the moment. And 1 pen, 2 overpens. That destroyer is still shooting at me. So just going to use the island here for concealment for the moment. Heading north, we've got a Bismarck to the north, another one pushing to the south. The Gallant has a smoke screen and that Nagato's pushing in quite hard. Now I need to be careful here because I'm expecting torpedoes at least from that Tirpitz that's just ended Bravo. Come out. I do have a shot at the enemy Bodgoni, so I'm going to take it. And here come the Tirpitz torpedoes. Yep. Nagato gone. 4 overpens on the Bodgoni. You start to see a bit of a theme here. Lots of overpens. So I'm just going to use the smoke for a moment. I'm not going to take a shot at anyone just yet. Just going to wait that Targo angling away. The Nagato is a much more tempting target. You can see him now starting to flatten out. It's now only just detected by aircraft as I'm moving out of the smoke screen. Moving away as that Tirpitz is closed right in, and Bismarck gets the final kill on that Nagato. I and Confederate set my secondaries. I should set my secondaries to that Tirpitz. Yep, there we go. And I'm just going to kite away from him because the last thing I want is to be torpedoed. So now we'll move back around this island here, kiting away and firing as we go. Yep, again another overpen on the Bodgoni. I'll take another shot with main guns. As I come around the corner, I spot the Bismarck to the far south, and he's fully broadside, so I will look to focus him in just a second. And he's not moving for some reason, I don't know why, so I'm just going to take my time with him. Aim under the front guns because that's where I'm most likely to get a citadel. The German turtleback armor makes it very hard to get in there, so I'm just swing the gun around because it looks like he's focused on someone else at the moment. But I'm going to take more damage from the North Carolina than I am from the Bismarck. Take shots out, he's now starting to get underway again. One pen, 1 overpen. Again, that's that tier 8 dispersion. Take another shot. And as soon as he's turning in, starting to get focused a bit. And he's still not shooting at me, so I'll just take another shot as I can, just to try and assist with the damage. Alright. And again, I'm completely broadside to him and he's completely ignoring me, so I'm just gonna continue on, stay angled to the North Carolina. Looks like our friendly Bismarck, who had his Kraken, is not long gone down. Into huge shots out of North Carolina. And I didn't see this Bismarck coming until it was too late, and we are going to scratch paint. Neither of us are paying attention in that regard, I don't think. So, let's try and focus down this North Carolina. And he's trying to heal. Shots out, and he goes down. Always the way. Oh well, snapshot at the DD over there. And it looks like the Otago has started to push back into Charlie. So I'm going to swing around, firstly, to try and get this destroyer, but also to push back towards Charlie and try and hunt down that Otago as well. Now I know that A is uncontested. The enemy team has held that point pretty much for the entire game, but the two remaining ships are up to the north. So the Edinburgh and the Bismarck should be able to take that cap uncontested. Whilst myself and the Pensacola head back up to the north and try and hunt these last two ships down. Now I am spotted, that would be the destroyer keeping me spotted. I'm expecting him to head back up towards Charlie in order to try and hold that cap against us. So, yep, I've just dropped off detection, so it means he's gone behind one of those islands, so he's definitely heading in that direction. And up pops the Otago. Take a couple of shots. I have a feeling that Otago might be running the extra steering gear mod. That's the problem with trying to hit destroyers that are kiting away from you, especially at long range in a battleship. They can be very, very difficult to try and hit. So it's a little bit of luck and a little bit of prediction. Now I pop in a visual range here. And this is where I kind of make a mistake. I stand on in a straight line for far too long. Now I should be expecting torpedoes, and it's only at this point where I go, yep, I better turn. And sure enough, here they are, torpedoes. So fortunately I turned in when I did. If I'd stayed cruising in the straight line, I would have taken a lot more damage, but fortunately the armor on this ship is pretty good and I was able to mitigate the damage fairly well, and I only took 2 torpedoes. So now that those torpedoes have come in, I know that the destroyer's got at least 1.5 minutes or thereabouts before he can fire again, so it means now I've got to make the effort to try and find him and get the kill on him before he manages to fire them again. So I'm just sneaking around the corner here. I'm not expecting torpedoes again anytime soon. Pushing into Charlie. I should be, yep, there I am, I'm spotted, so I know he's now within my line of sight. It's going to be a matter of where the Otago, and there's a destroyer, so I need to get the kill on him as quickly as possible. He hasn't got much health left. Fire blind into smoke. Pensacola takes out the Otago. We take out the destroyer, and that ends the game. So that was the Roma. I really do love this ship. It is absolutely fantastic, and if you have the Giulio Cesare, you're gonna love playing this ship too. 116,000 damage, not a huge amount, but we still got Confederate, Fireproof, and First Blood. They're always good ones to get. Came second on the leaderboard behind the Bismarck, who got the Kraken. We'll give him a compliment. And now we'll just move on back to the port and have a look at my recommended build.
Okay, so here is the build that I use for the Roma. Let's start off with consumables. So it is a premium ship, so damage control party 2, repair party 2, and spotting aircraft 2, which will just give you that little bit of extra charge. Into the upgrades, main armaments mod 1, damage control mod 1, aiming systems modification 1. It was either a toss-up between this and a guns mod 2, but given how many carriers I see at higher tiers, I felt that the aiming mod was a better option. Steering gear mod 2 for better maneuverability, and finally concealment upgrade. For the commander skills, as I mentioned earlier, this is my Guilio Cesare commander, and it's great that I can use this commander in both ships without any trouble at all. So I've only got 15 points at the moment, but slowly working up to 19. So to start with, we've got preventative maintenance, expert marksman, superintendent for the extra heal and spotter plane charge, concealment, so they should be the first 4 skills you get for this ship. Then we'll go into AFT for better AA and secondary range, and basic firing training will come after that for better damage output for the secondaries and the AA. So as I said, you know, we don't see a lot of carriers much at tiers 8, 9 and 10. If I'm going to see carriers, they're going to be at a lower tier, and this ship generally has the tools to deal with it. And then finally, for my last 2 points, I'll end up getting adrenaline rush, just so that you know, as my health goes down, my rate of fire goes up and I can put more damage out. So anyway, that was the battleship Roma. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you all later. Ciao.